Thanks for tuning in, and welcome to Norman's Broadcast, a broadcast from Melbourne, Australia, that showcases a multiple streams approach to values, emotions, and willingness in life, for life matters in these uncertain times. This show is brought to you by Norman with his unique point of view and is born from his accumulated experience, perspective in multicultures, food, art, and more. Now let's welcome your host, Norman, and his guests.
Welcome, world. Welcome to Norman's Podcast. It's live from Melbourne, Australia.
Thanks to my sponsors, Signature Chaos.
Our systems have a wide range of use in your retail, aged care, schools, hotels, offices, and factories. This emerging temperature scanning technology can help your organization in infection prevention.
My name is Norman Fosbury. Those of you who don't know me, I lived most of my life in Melbourne.
With my beautiful wife, Darlene.
I've come from a small country town in the south of India called Madras. I grew up there with my brothers and sisters and my mom and dad. We were a happy family, 7 brothers and sisters, now scattered all over the globe. Unfortunately, my parents are no more. I miss my dear mom and dad. Now, about this show. I'm passionate about sharing my views with people. I have some experience. I hope I can be of help to anybody. So the show, it's a live broadcast which will explore culture, style, art, food, and more. With the help of the writers, the thinkers, and the brain trust of the show, we will try and interview and get stories with the people of the know. We will be anchoring major events when things get better. Yes, there will be a plenty of hiccups because it's a new show. I'm doing it from my home. You know, everybody's in lockdown now in Melbourne. We are on stage 4, so can't go anywhere. So I got a few of my buddies together and said, let's do something, and we'll interview all of them. I got a lot of interesting friends, and I love everyone. So now let's dive into my guest. Introducing my 2 buddies, my great mates. They have immense knowledge amongst both of them. Both of them, great guys. Nigel, a business consultant, a filmmaker, a music producer, and an active member of the Anglo-Indian community in India. He lives with his wife, Marie, a lovely lady, in the heart of Melbourne. Great couple. And my other guest is my friend Ken Bailey. He's an executive with the Central Queensland University. Work takes him around the world. Recently, he was in India and he came back with all these great stories. And he told me, Norman, that's your hometown. I want to show you what we do there and everything. He's a great bloke. But he's a great musician and actor. I put it down just one word, a great entertainer. He lived with his lovely wife, Chrissy, in Gippsland on a farm. Let's bring them on board. Welcome, Nigel.
Hi, Norman.
Hi, Nigel.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, Nigel.
Oh, that's great. That was a very, very nice intro. Thank you. Good to see you. I haven't seen you for a little while, but as usual, nice to see that smiling face.
No, it's great, Nigel, to have you on the show. I always looked at you as my mentor. Now, let me bring in my other guest, Mr. Ken Bailey.
Hello, Nigel and Norman. How are you both?
Fine, thank you.
Ken, good to see you.
And good to see you. And Nigel, it's interesting that you are into making films and that I used to be in films. I find that very interesting. And Norman, thank you for your beautiful, kind words. And yes, you do love everyone. I've never known a man like you. You just find the good in everybody. And that is one of your great attributes, my friend.
Thank you, Ken. And tell them, Ken, about when did we meet? We met about 20 years ago when I came down to that country town.
Yes, you did. I don't think I was married at that stage, and Chrissy and we walked into your restaurant, which was the Indian Tree, and we become very much regulars. I used to love going in there. The atmosphere was fantastic. Your food was sensational. And one of the things I always remember about that restaurant used to make me laugh, but it was a very relaxing atmosphere. You had butcher's paper over all the tables and used to supply crayons and pencils, and everybody would draw things. And I remember we used to go there and play hangman or noughts and crosses or tic-tac-toe, as some people would call it. And we always had a great time.
Yeah, I wanted to just give people something different. I always thought outside the box, and that was the crayons box. I started an Indian restaurant with crayons on the table when everybody in the country was just getting used to butter chicken. But it was a great time.
Butter chicken's not even an Indian dish.
Yeah, but that's the time when we started. When I came down to Gippsland and opened restaurants in in each country town there, and Morville, Sale, and Traralgon. I had a great time. I love Gippsland.
What was even better was when we would finish up, you would close the restaurant, and then we would go out and watch a band somewhere in a bar or a hotel. They were great days. They really were.
I remember the place very well, Ken. It was called the Dome. We used to go to
the Dome, the Astrodome. Yeah.
Astrodome. Hey, Susie Quattro. Remember Susie Quattro? She was there in the 90s. Yeah.
They had some great bands there, Noiseworks. I actually saw, Chrissy and I went and watched The Sweet at the Astrodome. Yeah, they got some really good international acts in there. But, there was bands like Noiseworks and Icehouse and Chocolate Starfish, Boom Crash Opera. Every top Australian line band you could think of has played there. Sherbet, AC/DC, all of them.
And now, Ken, you went to India recently. I saw some photographs, everything. You've been to India, but your work takes you there. Tell us something, all the great things, what you saw in India. I can see some nice photographs yesterday. What is this, Ken? Where is this?
That's in Gurgaon, which is about 20 minutes out of Delhi. And I'm standing out the front of our office, out of the Central Queensland University office. We have a group of people there, about 80, that work for us, and they do an amazing job in organising students to come to Australia to study. I absolutely loved India. It's such a beautiful place. It's got, all you can feel in India is peace, and the people are just magnificent. They're beautiful. Look, it's so warming. It's a fantastic place. I'll go back. I will be back there again as soon as the borders open up.
Oh, fantastic, Ken. That's a little bit about India. Now let's get down to what we are talking about. The topic I wanted to talk to you about, both you guys, is about what are the effects of COVID-19 in Melbourne and regional Victoria. I'll try to get both of you on screen and let's have a chat.
Okay. You go first, Nigel.
Nigel.
Or do you want me to go? No, you go, Nigel.
Can you hear me, Norman?
Yeah, I can hear you, Nigel. I'm just getting things.
Oh, that's good. Yep.
Yeah, I was saying, Nigel, you are a city slicker living in the heart of Melbourne. What do you? And we have said the effects of COVID in Melbourne and regional Victoria. What's happening, gentlemen?
Look, I'm in Malvern, which is 12 kilometres from the CBD. Malvern's a sort of fairly quiet suburb most times. But at the moment, with our stage 4 lockdown, if you go outside, you need to wear a mask. There are no restaurants or cafes. A lot of the shops are closed. You can still get takeaway food. So there are many restrictions. Social distancing, of course, is very important. So you'll see people at the park walking, but most people in Malvern, 99.9% of people are doing the right thing for the rest of Victoria, if you like. I've seen a couple of people doing silly things, but the majority are doing the right thing. As far as how it's impacted me, I started a cleaning business just before COVID, so we're still that business is doing very well actually, because it's an essential service. Unfortunately, my film business has been heavily impacted. I've got 2 documentaries on the go, but both have been put on hold because, of course, we can't interview and film people. But again, I've put those on hold, but I've begun a couple of other projects. So one is the music album that we're launching September 1, and the other one is because I also write. I'm writing a detective novel which is actually set in Bandra in Bombay. The title of the novel is Bombay PI, and it's going to be an audio book first, like an audio play, and then I'll put it out as an electronic book as well. So, what I suggest is people just, while they're at home, take the time to evaluate, where they are in their life, what they're doing, go through their bucket list, maybe do some revisions on that. But basically, stay positive and, don't be negative. Try not to be negative. I know it's difficult if you've lost your income. I can't imagine how stressful that must be. But there are lots of government assistance. My youngest daughter, who's 31, she worked at the airport, and of course she's on job keeper at the moment. But she's gone out and she's got another job. So again, it's vital that we all try to do as much as possible and be positive. And
that's great, Nigel. At least, as you're saying, just be positive, but we will come out of this eventually.
Well, look, focus on your life post COVID-19. Get some plans. There's a hobby that you've always wanted to do. There are many things that people can do. One of the things that I've done is contacted family and friends that I haven't talked to in a long time. I've also, tried to rebuild some broken bridges with friends. So take this opportunity to reach out, and
Great.
You'll find that you'll feel a lot better for all of that.
Great, Nigel. Thank you.
And of course, drink more red wine.
Red wine is it's wrecked the economic, derailed the whole dynamics of business, and has installed a constant state of trauma in our city. What about the country, Ken?
Well, Norman, we are also in a lockdown situation. It's not quite as severe as what Melbourne is experiencing, but all the same, it's quite unpleasant. We can still go and get takeaway food. We're still allowed to walk around the town or the streets, but we have to wear a mask, exactly the same as in Melbourne. My daughter's school has been locked down because they had some positive COVID tests there. There was a teacher and a couple of students that come back with positive COVID testing. As a family, we are supposed to be in the United States at the moment. We had a 2-month holiday booked for all of August and September, and we were going to tour through the US and Canada. That hasn't happened. And prior to that, I was supposed to be in Jakarta.
Very unfortunate. And you got back all your refunds, Ken? Or...
It's coming, Norman. It's coming. But do you know what? Just to go back to what Nigel was saying, I think that's really good advice that, you know, let's look at some of the things that we've probably let fall behind us. You know, contact friends, contact people that you do need to rebuild that bridge with. You know, it's not all that negative. I mean, look, one of the things that I have really found to be positive about this is how, I mean, I've always had a beautiful family, but to really reconnect with your family is probably something that we all should be looking to do. I just think that, you know, we lose track of just how valuable our loved ones are to us, and this has been a way to reset for me. It has.
Yep. Let's rewind a bit. And what is the one thing, if I say, that you all miss the most? For me, it is my gorgeous granddaughter and daughter and sister's family live away. We can't move 5 kilometers radius. I can't go and visit them. So that's really putting, my loved ones. I just want to go and cuddle them. I want to go and have a meal with them. But that's the main thing I missed. Otherwise, every weekend we were together. That's my story. What about you, Nigel? What is your one thing you miss?
Oh, look, I'd love to say it was family or, you know, that sort of thing. But I'm 65. I've been a mad motorcycle rider since I was 15. So usually twice a year I'm away on my motorcycle for 2 or 3 weeks on a tour. And I haven't been able to, of course, because we're in lockdown. So to be honest, I really miss being on the bike, having an adventure, being out in the Australian bush, desert, etc. So yeah, fingers crossed. You know, as soon as the borders open, I'll be off on a bike ride. And you motorcycle, not push bike.
Yeah, and you do that solo or you go with a group, Nigel?
No, I do solo. I have a group of friends that I ride with as well, just say on a Saturday or a Sunday. But my long distance trips, one is you need a very specialized motorcycle because I'm off road most of the time. And again, you have to, you have to be very experienced mechanically with your own bike to be able to change flat tires or fix engine problems, electrical problems. And, you have to carry tent, water, food, everything, extra petrol. So I just cannot afford to rely on somebody else to be along, because every bike that comes along is another potential breakdown or crash. So yeah, I love being solo, but in Australia, it's very hard to actually find peace sometimes, because people see you camped by yourself and they'll pull off into the track and come up and say, "Oh, would you like some company?
Really?
Come and have a beer. We'll come and have tea with us or something." So that's the generosity of the open road, mate, and that's something that I truly love. And I've ridden in many countries. I rode the dreaded road of death in Bolivia a few years ago. That was a bloody experience, let me tell you.
Yep. And now,
talk about don't take your eyes off the road. Jesus. Yeah.
We'll talk about that. You can send us some pictures of those of your wild riding days. And now we'll ask Ken what does he miss.
Yeah.
What do you miss, Ken? You're an entertainer. I know what you're going to miss.
Well, we don't have the 5 kilometre limits that the metropolitan people have. That is one of the lockdown luxuries, I guess, that we have. We are allowed to travel, although my father lives in the metropolitan lockdown area, so I have to have a certificate to allow me to go and visit him, which is okay. I'm allowed to do that. My son lives away, so we don't get to see him very often now, him and his beautiful wife. But the thing that I miss the most, Norman, and I probably don't I don't even have to tell you, you would already know, and that is performing with my band. Not being able to perform is it's quite devastating for me, and that's a real worry for us. We really miss that.
You are a great performer and artist, I know, but do you think those days will come back, and when can?
Well, the way I look at this, I think, have a different view to most. I mean, we currently have a vaccine for the common flu, which doesn't necessarily mean that you won't contract the flu. And I think that we will get a vaccine for COVID. But I think what will happen is that it'll just be a precaution that people will have. We won't necessarily ever have a cure, just like our common flu. And I think, as we have done with so many other viruses and diseases that have already come in days gone by, I think we'll just learn to adjust and live with COVID-19. But I do think we will return to normality at some stage. But one thing I do know is this, Norman: people all over the world, especially Australians, we're very complacent people, especially Aussies. And I think that we will one day go back to normal living, and it will just be, it's a bit of Russian roulette. I think that, if you don't catch it, fantastic. If you do, well, you just have to cope with it. And I think that's just how it's going to be, unfortunately.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Nigel. Y'all have been great guests. This is my first show. Y'all really given me a kickstart. I thank my audience for watching, and I love Melbourne. And once again, put up with me for some time, and we'll get it right. Thank you, and we'll have some good guests and some good conversations. That's all it's all about. We'll have a chat. Till next time, life matters, and thank you.
Thank you, all loved ones. Hope you enjoyed this episode with your host, Norman. You can subscribe and find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and our website, normanbroadcast.com.